In this video, I'll be going over some of Reddit's most disturbing users. With 430 million monthly active users, there's gotta be at least a couple of cases of strange user activity on the site, which is what we'll be diving into today. Do you think this flower looks pretty? Well, the flower you're seeing right now is called datura, also known as the devil's weed, which is a pretty fitting name considering the effects it has on somebody when used or when consumed. Now, while it does have its medical uses, by itself, it's a highly toxic plant, and there is a process for the purification and the detoxification of said plant. However, outside of a medical context, it's probably not the best idea to use it because it has the following side effects: dry mouth, enlarged pupils, blurred vision, trouble breathing, hallucinations, panic, and death. Not to mention it's a delirium. User Flip and Flop about 5 years back made a post saying that they got their hands on some datura. To be specific, he had around 60 seeds, some dried up flowers, and leaves. With having got some datura, he went to the r/drug subreddit and asked redditors how much he should use, and most users echoed the same thing, that he should take absolutely none. User Rect M actually replied with their own experience using datura, saying, quote, "I never noticed too many side effects initially: dry eyes and mouth, hot flushed skin, rapid heartbeat, but I was 100% in a state of psychosis that whole time, and for about 2 weeks after I stopped using it, like someone here said, it's a delirium, so I wasn't even aware of how totally fricked I was. My friends got increasingly worried about me, and I finally broke down mentally. About a month later, I got diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder and severe panic disorder with derealization and depersonalization. Despite what most people were saying for Flip and Flop not to use it, they went ahead and used it anyways, and whether or not these comments were posted while he was on his trip or not, I'm not sure of, but regardless, they're funny. Hold up, let me show you. Google.com. How normal again. Stop now. Please, these big dogs are fighting. Now, okay. Have you ever tried to learn to code before? I remember when I tried to learn JavaScript, bro, like, it was not it, bro. And I think we can all agree it's one of those skills that it's hard to learn in the beginning, but once you like learn it, get really good at it, it pays off. User Carl H made the following post in the r/programming subreddit. Quote, "I've been programming for over 15 years. I have a great deal of free time. I enjoy teaching beginners, and I'm willing to teach anyone who wants to learn." End quote. He then goes on to explain how he's looking to do it for free, and that the course that he is making is intended specifically for those who aren't able to afford like a college course or something like that for programming. User Mosky then replies with the following. Quote, "Here's an idea. You should create a subreddit that you treat as your classroom, post your lessons and assignments, and be part of the discussion therein." End quote. With Carl H initially shooting down that idea, below in the reply, you can see that Carl H says, then again, you know, having second thoughts there, with the r/Carl H programming subreddit having been created. And this community looked like it was popping with 18k members in it, and probably even more before what I'm about to talk about came to light. Carl Harold, which is Carl H's full name, would then go on to post tons and tons of lessons for absolutely free. He also ran a YouTube channel called Carl Harold, where he would post his lessons and even had his own website called Computer Science for Everyone. One thing he had a lot of was respect from his community that he would eventually lose in an instant, and would prompt people to say the following messages. You may be wondering, why is it that people were saying these types of messages? Why is it that Carl Harold lost all of his respect? Carl, he would go inactive on literally all of his platforms, and this would prompt people to ask where he's at, what's going on, what's the deal, bro? And people would even theorize as to where he could possibly be. The truth would soon reveal itself, and the unfortunate and devastating truth is that he was charged for the production, the distribution, and having involved his own son in CP. He would also be accompanied by Charles Donovan, who was also charged. Turns out that behind that nice guy mask and behind the scenes was a whole entire CP ring, and there was a man who was one thing online but something completely different offline. While Carl Harold was in prison, he committed suicide. Now, I've already made an in-depth video about this user and the subreddit that they created, which I would highly recommend you check out. But after this video, though, I have to watch this video first, bro. But to briefly summarize, there was a subreddit called this right here, but for short r/858, where the user of the same name would post seemingly random strings of numbers and letters, and some of them were even decoded, revealing them to be hidden messages, and some of them were even images, with one of the most infamous ones being the Stonehenge art. A whole separate subreddit which documented and archived a whole bunch of info, since the original r/858 subreddit is actually private. And the account that actually created that subreddit is now deleted. The subreddit called r/solving8858 was created in attempts to do just that, solve the puzzles, and they successfully did so for a very small portion of them. Again, I go way more in depth in my actual video, so go check that out afterwards, but make sure you stay bro, stay. User Religion of Peace's real name was Milo, and his history not only on Reddit but on the internet dates way back to the late 90s, early 2000s. And the story of Milo is a whole entire rabbit hole on its own, which Nexpo and Barely Sociable have covered in greater detail. So if you'd like, check out the video after this one. Stay, bro. But I'll briefly be summarizing some of the main takeaways. Milo was a moderator of the highly controversial subreddit r/jailbait, which was a community dedicated to uploading compromising photos of underage girls, hence the name jailbait. Thankfully it was banned though. Milo would also frequently promote the properly titled That Old Guy's Image Host, which is basically like a site like Imgur or Photo Bucket. Now why is it that I say properly titled? Because Birdie was an old man. And as to how old he is exactly, I'm not sure, because he would say that he's 79 but also say he was 70, and also when Nexpo's research it's something else. The point is he's an older man. Why is this important? Well, this leads us to our next point, specifically to user 26 who made the following post. Now I won't read the whole thing, but all you need to know is that he passed away and that this post introduces us to user 26, who apparently knew Milo, and as he stated, they weren't exactly friends, but Milo tolerated him. And 26 was also known as Angel 26 according to an account he had on a website called Fark, and apparently the connection that both 26 and Milo had, similar typing styles, prompted people to theorize whether or not they're the same person. Now I would go super in depth into this mystery and cover the rest of this rabbit hole, but I don't think I'm mentally prepared to take on the challenge that is this rabbit hole, nor take on the task of making an hour-long video just yet, because this topic goes extremely deep. Now, before we talk about user Yay Video Games directly, let's talk about user I Wish I Was a Me, who posted the following on the r/gaming subreddit. Quote, just got Oblivion for PC. What are your favorite mods? End quote. Now, the replies were pretty much normal until you get to this one particular reply by the one and only Yay Video Game, which says the following. Quote, the uninstall button. The game is great and all, but goodness is it hard to fully remove all the junk it leaves behind in your system. You really need to check out that mod when the time comes to get rid of it. Otherwise, I think Oscuro's Oblivion overhaul is a nice start. In response, a user properly responds in confusion, and to double down on that confusing post, Yay Video Game says all it is. The deleted user responds once again after said response, and then Yay Video Game just goes off and just posts a whole bunch of randomness and spams the chicken noodle soup out of the replies. Also, when said replies, some of them were actually formatted differently. Some even had links to images, with one of said images including what he would spam all over the place written down on a piece of paper. And this odd user activity would prompt the user SoLegitHS to start digging around, and of course, like the rest of my sources, everything will be linked down in the description in my paste bin, as well as what SoLegitHS has found. But in order to get one level deeper into this mystery, we have to go to the r/cleanliness Bro, why do I say it like that? I say r/. I'd be like r/. Like, have you noticed that? Like, I've been saying that this whole video, like r// I can't say it, bro. Gotta go to the r/cleanliness subreddit. There we go. If you look around hard enough, you'll find that Yay Video Games is here, and he posted a couple of things, with one of them simply reading none. But remember how on the initial post in r/gaming, he posted a whole bunch of like repetitive writing and all that stuff, like the stream work, go bye, whatever, all that stuff? Well, the same could be found here, especially on this one post by user No Substance here, and not sure how big you are. And as you continue to scroll down, both of the users just spam the same things over and over again, and the same type of spam can be found on the r/hipsterjoke subreddit. On said subreddit, user Vinyl Record can be found, and this user made a reply to this post, and underneath you can once again see Yay Video Games. Now, the reason I bring up all these different users is because they have one thing in common. They've done one thing. Bro, my fault. I'm sorry, baby. They've all done the same thing, commenting repetitively to the point of spam. Now, I'm thinking of making a whole entire video about Yay Video Games, so I won't say the rest of the story. However, what I will say is that all these accounts were run by the same person. Now, I know that Nexpo made a really good deep dive video about Yay Video Games. Also, SoLegitHS has a really good Google Doc where he posts all his discoveries about Yay's video games. Now, I didn't go super in depth into like every single one of the Reddit users that I mentioned in this video, and I know that I made a lot of generalizations and summarized a lot of the deeper rabbit holes, which would warrant a whole entire video on its own. Regardless, I still hope you found these users' stories interesting. So first of all, if you made it to this point in the video, because I know that majority of people don't watch until this point, comment down Joe Mama had a bruh moment, alright? And if you'd like for me to make this a series, let me know, because as I continue to make installments, I'll continue to up the quality. You know, I'll go deeper into the mysteries. And speaking of quality, if you'd like to help me make higher quality videos, consider supporting me on Patreon. Even if it's just $1, bro, anything helps, bro. Or if you'd like to get, you know, your best bang out of your buck, you know, I got SwinAnyClothes.com, bro. Just dropped the hoodie, bro, that I'm really proud of, so you know what I'm saying. If you use coupon code Joe Mama, you get 15% off, so you know what I'm saying. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, Twitter, whatever, blah blah blah, and bye bye, guys. When I'm on YouTube, I be like SwinAny, eating my chicken noodle soup just like SwinAny. When I hit that name,